Well, hello, friends, avid readers. I am so glad you're here. I have a new friend, Rebekah Millet. We are talking about her book, Kate Landry Has a Plan. Well, she had a plan, but you'll see in the book her plans don't always go as planned. But
Such is life.
such is life. Okay, Rebekah, it's so great to connect with you. But just why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. And thank you for having me. And thank you to the Avid community because y'all are just a wonderful group. And it's so great to have y'all are like the best resource ever out there. Like, if you need a
It's true.
specific type of book, you just post it and then you have everyone comment and like, this is what you need to read. And so I love it. I love everyone's hearts for Christian fiction. It's a very big encouragement for me as a writer and a reader. But okay, so for me, my name is Rebekah Millet. I write contemporary Christian romance, and this is my latest
It's
release or
so
next
cute
release.
too.
It
Yeah.
hasn't been, it's not out yet, March 18th. But yeah, Kate Landry Has a Plan. Um, I was, I am born and raised in New Orleans. I've been married for goodness 23 years now. I've got two boys, one in college, one in high school, and dog mom, fish mom, and yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
I love fish. I've never heard fish mom before.
I don't know
Like,
where that came from. This is why I'm terrible in interviews because I just like blah, I say things and
but
they
that's like
just
the
come
fun
out.
thing. Okay, so I have to hear about the fish because tell me. I mean, I know you have two boys, but I want to hear about the fish.
The fish is actually something new. So my youngest son, he started with one fish tank, and it's like how you hear about like you get one tattoo, then you get another, and you get another. Which I don't know about the tattoo side, but it's very akin to fish tanks because he started with one, and then he got another and another, and I don't even know how many we have. But then he talked me into getting a mini saltwater tank for my kitchen. And so now right now I have an anemone in there and a fire shrimp, and my son has fish everywhere. So they're really cool to watch. We're slowly adding things to my tank as it acclimates, because apparently there is a lot of science involved in saltwater tanks, which I did not know about.
You're like,
So
what did I get into?
yes. Like, if anyone's considering doing it, don't do it.
It's a lot of work.
It's
It's a lot
hard.
of
It's
work
a
being a
lot.
fish mom.
It is a lot of
Okay, but we
work.
have to talk about dogs too, but we're gonna get there. I have to wait because I have you talk about the book, and then we'll talk about
Oh, okay.
the girl in the book asking for the dogs all the time. I will tell you the story,
Haley,
but
yes.
first, for those who may not know what your story is about, let's start with there, and then we'll get to the dogs
Okay.
and the Mardi Gras and the beignets and all the things.
Okay, so you want me to tell you about the book
Yes,
itself?
the book itself.
Okay,
Yep.
as you can already tell from this interview, I am a rambler. So I'm just going to read the back cover copy so that I don't
Okay.
ramble any more than I already have. Okay, so and they did such a great job summarizing it. So, 40-year-old Kate Landry's carefully planned life has become as messy as the powdered sugar on her famous beignets. Juggling the responsibilities of running her cafe, raising her teenage niece, and the emotional baggage from her breakup, Kate finds her world once again turned upside down when her first ever crush, Micah Guidry, returns to town as the hunky local librarian. As Kate struggles to implement her plans to expand her cafe amid the New Orleans Mardi Gras madness and the meddling of her conniving ex fiance, Micah becomes the unwitting hero of her misadventures, stirring up feelings she thought she'd long buried. How can falling in love in the Big Easy be this hard? And that's
Oh,
it.
it's so fun. Okay, so she has her niece, and this is not. I'm not sharing anything past the first couple chapters, so this is all right there in the
That's
front.
and the first two
Her
chapters are out there to read for free anyway.
Yeah, there
So
we go,
you
there we
know.
go. So she lost her sister and her brother-in-law. She has her
Mhm.
niece, and let me tell you, he is a hunky librarian, and just the way you wrote them, I'm like, "Oh, oh, I like the flamingos. Oh, he's really nice. Oh, he's funny. Oh." So he is. He's great, and he's, like, so sweet. I don't know. Yeah, so good
That
job
makes
on the
me so
hunky.
happy to hear you, like, swooning over him. I love that. Thank you. That's so encouraging.
Those fictional characters that warm our cheeks sometimes, they're so
Oh,
sweet.
yes. Yes.
Okay, so what I love is, first of all, you're a native of New Orleans or New Orleans,
Mhm.
how that you would say it, New
New
Orleans.
Orleans, you got it, you
Right.
got it.
I'm in Arkansas. So
Oh, okay.
we're learning. I grew up in Northern California and then Montana. Lived in Montana, so I'm learning it's New Orleans.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
you
Yeah.
can't just like say New Orleans. That's like not a thing.
No. Oh, that's like
And
a record, the needle scratching on the record when a local hears New
and I've
Orleans.
learned beignet. Right? Is that how you say it?
Very good. Yes, yes.
So
Ding,
you
ding,
have to explain. You
ding.
have to explain what this is because this is a New Orleans. See, I'm catching myself. New Orleans thing. So what is a beignet and how do the beignets tie into your story?
So beignets are a wonderful local dessert. It's basically dough that is fried and it puffs up into kind of like a they're not it's kind of like a snowflake. Not every beignet looks the same because the way they puff up when they're frying, they have this like the outside is crispy, the inside is soft with like air bubbles, and they're just loaded with powdered sugar on top, and it's just they're the best. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kate has a cafe slash well, that's not a
Yes.
bookstore. She has books. She has books and
She
that for the
has yeah,
atmosphere.
yes, yes, she has books just for the atmosphere. They're her grandma's books because that's where, she inherited the house from her grandma and turned it into a beignet cafe, and so her sister and her grandma have, they came up with the beignet recipes, and that's what Kate sells in her establishment. So the beignet cafe is originally a tribute to her grandma. It's something that Kate and her sister started in their grandma's honor, and then when her sister passed away, Kate continued it on, for both of them. And so yeah, so it's beignets, and they sell not just the traditional beignets, but beignets with different like breakfast, lunch, and dinner beignets, which that is a thing too.
It's a New Orleans thing. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't think it's very many places in the country. It's very much a southern, very French, has the I guess probably French background kind of thing. So we
Yeah,
have yeah, go ahead.
I think the furthest I've seen beignets is, Destin, Florida, and that's someone from New Orleans that went there and did a beignet
Exactly.
cafe there.
Yeah, I love it. So we have romance, we have
Yes.
beignets, yummy, yummy. And you have this rich culture. It's right in the Mardi Gras season, which I was just at Whole Foods today, and there's a big king cake, and my daughter's like, "Oh, I heard someone talking about those," and I'm like, "Yeah." So like there's such a culture
Oh,
there.
wow.
Such a
Yeah.
culture there that like it's kind of gets spreading a little bit or that's a little bit out. But what was the inspiration, the spark of inspiration behind Kate and Micah's story?
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, Kate came from the first book, Julia Monroe Begins Again. That's the one I've got behind me. Because that was Julia's best friend. So that's where we first meet Kate. And so as I was writing the first book, I just knew I wanted to write Kate's book next, because I just loved how her character came to life in that book. So with Kate, I needed to figure out who would be the most opposite to her that I could have her, have her romance with it, because she has such a type A personality. Everything
Yeah.
is planned and in control and in order. And I said, let's bring in a very laid back, fun, hunky librarian type, And so that's how I, came together with that story. And then placing it in New Orleans was a no-brainer. Because that's where the first book takes place as well. And so yeah. And then also I wanted to make sure I had a setting, a book that took place at least some part during Mardi Gras. Because
Hmm.
not the whole, not, the whole book in Mardi Gras, because then you'd be jamming a whole book into just a few weeks. But I knew I wanted to include Mardi Gras somehow, and it just turned out perfectly with the way the last book ended and where this book began to do that.
Yeah, and for those who are not familiar with Mardi Gras, you can explain it because we were in Galveston, Texas before getting ready on a cruise, and I'm like, "What is going on?" Like, I didn't realize it was a thing, like how much of a thing it was. And Galveston, Texas, I'm sure is very different than New Orleans, like in the
Yeah.
middle of everything.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And I never realized, I thought growing up, I thought Mardi Gras was everywhere. I thought it was like Christmas or Easter, but then because when you're little and you grow up and you're like, okay, it's we get off a week for school down here for Mardi Gras because Mardi Gras isn't just one day, it's several weeks of parades, um, and it's the height of it is the weekend before Mardi Gras, which is always on a Tuesday, which we call Fat Tuesday down here in New Orleans. So yeah, it is. I didn't realize until later in life, well, as I grew up, that it was only down here. That people everywhere else aren't dressing up
We're like,
on
"What
a
are you
random.
doing? What's happening?"
Yeah, they're not dressing up in costume on a random Tuesday and going to a parade and catching beads and moon pies and, trinkets and things like that. So once I realized that, I really had a better appreciation for it and
Mhm.
just how it was just down here. And I mean, some people kind of look down on Mardi Gras like, oh no, it's just a bunch of, partying people and stuff like that. But just like anything else, it's what you make of it.
Mhm.
For me growing up, it was always a family thing. It was a family tradition. We all dressed up in different costumes, like cowboys or flappers or different things like that, and we would spend the day together. We'd go down to the parade and catch beads and eat lunch, and then we'd go back home and we'd look through all the loot that we got. And it was just always good memories growing up, and that was the same thing with our kids, with them growing up, that we did too. So just very very family friendly, because when you're from down here, you know where to go and you know where not to go. So, if you want to have the more friendly atmosphere,
Mhm.
you don't go down to the French Quarter during Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Yes. I love it, and then that's where the misadventures start, and the plans just go awry from there. So just talk a little bit about that. We can't give too much about the plot, but, like, what was your goal when you sat down to write this book? Of course, we have the romance, but it's a fun tone. It's a fun tone, even though she's very serious. Like, she's trying to hold everything together, but she can't, which makes it fun, which is not
Yeah.
always fun for her. But talk about, like, just your goal when you sat down to write this book. Like, what was your heart for the book?
My heart for the book was, I guess, having Kate realize that she can't control everything.
Mhm, mhm,
That God is ultimately in control, and it's hard. I know that's something that I struggle with too, is trying to leave things in God's hands, but truly leave them there and not take them back and try to do them quicker or differently, or because that's just not the best
mhm,
way that it's
mhm.
supposed to be. So for Kate, when you're writing, we they say it's like you have to torture your characters,
Yes,
you
yeah,
know? And so I had to torture her, and I had to torture Micah, but it was all for their own good.
yeah,
So it was a way for them to also grow closer and strengthen their relationship as well, through the way that things worked out, with
yeah,
with things not exactly going according to her plans that she wanted to.
yeah, and she has a lot of, kind of doubts and fears, and she's already had losses in her life, and then
Mhm.
it reminded me so much of just her niece that she's raising. Like, you're gonna get kidnapped if you walk down the sidewalk. I mean, I'm like, with my kids, we were at a basketball tournament last weekend, and there's literally like a mile, and they're like, "Can we walk there?" And I'm like, "No, I'll drive you." Like, it's that there's so many fears in this world today, and then
Yes,
but
yes,
she has lost, so it's like you understand her. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, relate to the fears, relate to the anxiety, relate
for
to, like,
sure.
okay, things are going to be, bad things have already happened. So
Yes,
how,
yes.
why do you think readers will relate to Kate and understand kind of where she's coming from?
Well, I know for her, like, Kate feels on her shoulders, she feels that she is solely responsible for her niece Haley. Like,
Hmm.
Haley's well-being and safety completely rests on her. So like Haley is her number one priority. So I think for sure for moms or caregivers, um, they will definitely relate to her in that way, with the struggles that we do have with when do you start allowing your kids to have some freedom, and because it's a hard struggle. It's a hard struggle as your kids grow, to because they need that freedom in order to gain some independence and
Mhm.
learn lessons, and but it is a struggle with cutting those strings
Yeah.
and
It
letting
is.
them do that. And Kate struggles with that with Haley, because Haley, she's starting to want to get some more independence, and it's kind of a struggle for Kate because she really feels she doesn't want to let her sister down. And she
Mm.
struggles with that in this book, is feeling like she's not as good of a parent as her sister would have been. And so she deals with that throughout the book as well.
Yeah. But it cracks me up because Haley wants a dog, and she's always hinting about dog. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, these are my kids." Like, Rebecca has been in my house because it's been like dogs and photos of dogs and humane society screenshots of dogs. And so
Oh
fine,
no.
we end up getting a dog because one of my daughters, who's now out
Oh
of the
gosh.
house and living overseas, wanted a corgi, and we got this mixed corgi mix. But then
Oh gosh.
my other daughters want a dog, and we were on a speaking tour, and we ended up getting 2 puppies and bringing home with I'm like, "Now we have 5 dogs in the house." I'm like I
Oh
was
my
laughing. I
gosh.
was laughing so much, I'm like, "I understand this because this is a real
Yes.
kid thing." Like, so I just love
Yes, and they
like,
wear you down.
they
I
wear you
mean,
down.
like nobody's business, they wear you down.
Yeah, 5 dogs later, we were wore down. Like, now we're like
Wow.
and
Oh my
2 of them are
goodness.
my son's dogs, and he's living with us now too for a while, but it's like there's so many dogs around here. But I love
Oh my
how
gosh.
with these little things, they were very real to life characters. Just the voicemail messages and just the little things. It was just like it seemed like I was catching up with my friends, which is really a credit
Oh,
to you in your writing. So,
thank you. That's
I
so sweet. Thank you.
yeah, I would just love to hear, like, how you came to be an author,
Oh
kind of
gosh.
your little bit of your story, because it just seems like it just must flow so naturally that these are your friends and you're just inviting us in this journey, and it must have been, like, super easy for you to become an author, right?
No.
Like, no.
It is a wild and crazy story. So back in 2010, I decided I wanted to be a writer. And so back then, I didn't know that Christian fiction existed. And
Mm,
so I said, well, I'll write clean romance. So I wrote a book. I gave it to a few people to read, and the unanimous feedback was that it wasn't spicy enough. And so I was not comfortable with writing spice, and so I lost my taste for writing.
mm,
And it was for a few years. It was like 4 years, and when I look back at that time, I truly think it was the Holy Spirit keeping me from
mm.
going down a path that was not meant for me.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that.
It
So
would have been
grateful.
so easy to compromise on that, and especially if you could see publication on the end of it, you know?
Yes, yes, because that was all that was out there at the time.
Yeah.
So 4 years later, somehow I came across Francine Rivers' book Redeeming Love.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, oh, this is a Christian book. And I read it and I was like, whoa, like I didn't know this type of stuff existed. But still, it wasn't, I didn't, it still wasn't something that was for me that I felt like I wanted to write, because it had like the
Mhm.
historical aspect. And so I was still like, oh, I'm not so sure. But then Amazon recommended Becky Wade. And so I read her debut, My Stubborn Heart, and I was just like, this is what I want to write. Like, this is awesome. This is contemporary. It's fun. It's got heart. I love it. So I started writing like the Dickens. Like, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to write. So, so let's see. So then that was 2014. Um, so for the next 4 years, I started learning about the craft of writing because I had
Mhm.
no experience with it. Just I was a reader. That was all I had been up until that point. So I started studying the craft, and I started querying agents in little batches. I would, send my manuscript to, batches of agents at a time. And so after 22 agent rejections, I
Oh,
finally
so
got one.
it wasn't as easy as it seems when I'm reading your beautifully written novel.
But what was really nice was those agents would give me feedback in their
Mhm.
rejections. And so I was able to improve my writing even more. So then I finally got an agent, and he sent my first manuscript out to all the publishers. And in the end, there was no interest in it. It didn't get picked up. But the next year in 2019, I attended a seminar that Becky Wade gave for writers. And it was something that she said in that seminar that really just totally changed my whole perspective. And I'm going to read the quote from it that
Ooh,
it's
you already
so
had
this
you must have known I was gonna, like, ask you this question, right?
I figured, well, a lot of most people, they'll ask, like, "How did you get into writing?" And then I'm like, "Do you really wanna know? It's a long story."
Yeah. I love it, I love it.
Oh, good, good. So this is what she said, and it was just a total wake up moment for me. "The reward of this work is the satisfaction of writing stories for and with him, not a contract." And I was just like my mind,
Mhm.
like the blown mind emoji, because that's what I had been doing. I had been focused on getting a contract. That's where my mind and my heart was. And so from that moment forward, I started praying God's will over my writing. Every
Mhm.
time I sat down to write, I would pray and ask Jesus into those writing sessions that God would make it what he wanted it to be, not what I wanted it to be, but what he wanted it to be and his
Mhm.
timing. And so with that new perspective and this shift in my writing, I went on to write my next manuscript. And so let's see, I have my cheat sheet right here with the dates because I'm terrible with remembering
Oh,
dates.
I love it.
I have a little bit of Kate Landry in
I
me
know,
with planning and
I've never had anyone just already have the dates all there ready. This is perfect.
I know I'm terrible. So so that manuscript that I wrote with God, my agent then sent around to the publishers again. And I actually, while they were being shopped around, I felt God pushing this story on my heart to write this 40-year-old romance. And so it's like I was having this rolling conversation with the Lord. Like I would feel him nudging me. And I was like, God, I don't see that in traditional publishing because I just did not see 40-year-old romances out there. There
Mhm.
was this like unspoken rule that you don't move romances outside of the 30s, with traditional publishing for Christian books. And so, but God kept nudging me about it. And I asked some of my friends, and they were like, totally do it, because this was all the age that we're in our
Right,
40s. And
right.
they're like, yes, we want to see that. And I was like, I don't know. And so God just kept pushing me on it. So I said, okay, I'm going to write a few sample chapters and we'll see how that feels. And I wrote those chapters, and it just felt wonderful. It felt
Mm.
like I had truly found my writer's voice. I was writing just what was coming out of me. I wasn't trying to write for a younger audience. It was just pouring out, and it was wonderful. But still, I was nervous because it just wasn't out there, and I was a newbie. I hadn't been published yet. I
Mhm.
didn't like what am I thinking? I'm going to try and get in there with something new. And but God kept pushing me about it. So I said, "Okay, Lord, I'm going to enter it into a contest, and that way I'll get anonymous feedback and I'll
Yeah.
see if the judges are like, "What are you doing?" Like, "No,
Yeah.
no." And so I submitted it for a contest. And so I was like, okay, I've done what I can do with that for now. So I heard back from one of the publishers and with the manuscript that my agent sent, which was a 20 something romance. And one of them was interested in it. And I was like, oh, right, this is great. So they were going to take it to their pub board to vote on it. And in the meantime, I had scored an editor appointment through a conference. And so the editor appointment was with Ray LaShane, who at the time was the acquisitions editor for Bethany House.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, yeah, so when you get these editor appointments, you get to submit a one sheet, which is basically a flyer on whatever book you're pitching. So, but I didn't have a book to pitch because my agent had already sent her my last full manuscript. And so our meeting came, and I told her I didn't have anything to pitch. And as a I can't think of the word now. As a to be nice, I let her know that my other manuscript was going to a pub board because
Yeah.
I didn't want her to waste her time or or so we just chit chatted, and then that was it. And then like a week or so later, she reached out to me and she said that, she had seen the one sheet that I had submitted on the 40-year-old romance. And I said, "Oh goodness." But what happened was she was a judge in that contest that I had submitted those sample
Oh.
chapters to. And seeing the one sheet reminded her of it. And she wanted to know if it was okay if she took those chapters to her pub board
You're like,
because she
"Oh,
wanted
okay."
to. Yes, I was like, "Say what? Like, what is going on?" So then in the end, the first publisher offered me a deal on the 20-something romance, and then Bethany House was offering me a a contract on the 40-year-old romance that I hadn't written yet. It was just a few chapters. And so I was just shocked, and my agent was shocked, and, I just started praying on it really hard, and I really felt led by God to go with the 40-year-old romance because that's what he
Mhm.
had been pushing, nudging my heart for so long. And so I went with Bethany House, and we wrote Julia Monroe Begins Again, and that's how I got to where I am. I know
That
that was
is
very
so
long.
No, I love it. That was perfect, and I think it is so good to know these journeys because it's we know we pick up a book and it's so pretty and this is so fun and, oh, and I love hearing the story and how God's hand is in it. Like, he knows, where we need to be and our audience
Yes.
and how much we
Yes.
enjoy it, and I think what I loved, I mean, even just reading about Kate, I mean, I'm married, I have 10 children, I have grandchildren, I'm in my 50s, but Kate has lived enough.
Grandkids.
I have grandkids, yeah. Kate
Oh
has
my
lived
gosh.
enough life that things are hard. Like, things are
Yeah.
hard. She has faced hard stuff. And I think sometimes when you're reading those, like, light, not that everything has to be light, but 20-year-olds do face stuff too. But if you've just gone
Yeah.
through life and it's been a lot of hard things, it's just you have a different kind of perspective on stuff. And you realize, like,
Yeah.
I remember, like, my friends, we get together and, like, wow, like, friends I've had friends since childhood, I didn't think life was gonna be this hard. They're like,
Yeah.
"No." And so it is refreshing that it's not just someone with all the dreams in their eyes and this is my future and there's obstacles. Yes, I mean, I do love those kind of books too. But
Yeah.
it's refreshing to read about characters like the second chance romances and the man, like, we've had big losses and I'm concerned about this kid and she keeps asking for a dog, and then there's the Mardi Gras. I mean, there's like so much. It's like the layers of, I think, conflict is a word, but also the layers of just kind of hard stuff on our hearts that have just been there for a while. It's fun to
Yeah.
read about that stuff in a light way, and we kind of process our own stuff, right? When we're reading a novel, we're sitting down to read a novel, we're kind of like relating it. I'm thinking of my kids, I'm thinking of this conversation, I'm thinking of that, and we get connected to the characters and we get to be caught up and then that the takeaway, the spiritual arc, the okay, God is in control and I'm not and it's okay. Like, it's something that's refreshing and I love. So it was super fun to I'm not done yet, but to be reading your book and to see these layers in it, which is probably why God was like pushing you towards the 40-year romance because there was a lot of stuff in there that obviously you wanted to get out there 'cause it's in the
Yeah.
book.
I do. And yes, and one of the things I wanted to point out too, because I was rambling so much, was that things didn't start happening for me, like the manuscript that I had written before without God, that went nowhere. But it was when I
Mhm,
started writing for and with God,
mhm.
those 2 stories, that's where they went somewhere. It was like God saying, "Look, when you trust in me and let me have that wheel, look what I can do." And so, yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, and I think I had a moment in my own writing journey, it's like, "Do you want your name on the book or do you want me? Like, which do you wanna seek me and then we'll see where that goes, or do you want your name on the book?" And I was fighting for my name on the book, and once I realized, like,
Yes.
"Okay, if my name never gets on the book, we'll just see where this goes." God's like, "Okay, good. Now we could do something with you." Yeah.
I love how he works, and he's so faithful. Like, it's just you just gotta put your trust in him, and he is just so faithful and so good.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Okay. So one more question about this. It's a balance of romance and humor and faith. So how do you set about doing that in your books in a way that makes it so real and engaging?
I wish I had an answer for that. I'm gonna give God the glory on that
Yeah,
one,
there we go. Yeah.
because I don't set out to have, like, certain levels. I just pray over my writing, and I have a general idea of the characters and what their problems are going to be, and I do an outline of the whole book, and then I just start filling it in, and I don't try to have, okay, I need something
Mhm.
funny here, I need something serious here. I just start writing it.
Well, that's
So
good.
I wish I
Yeah.
had a better
I know.
answer for
You're like,
you.
I have a three-part outline, and I always have the faith journey mixed with the okay, every humor on every third page, or no. But God, like God could figure that out, right? He figures out what's worth.
He does every time. Well, he's done it 2 times for me.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, one funny thing in your bio, you mentioned that your husband is an answer to prayer, which I will raise my hand on that. I love that. So how does he feel about you writing romance?
He's been my biggest supporter since day one.
Mm.
Like, long ago when I told him, I think I want to be a writer. I want to write a book, and he didn't give me like the crazy face, like, what is she up to now? Like, he was like, you should write a book. And he went out the next day and got me a laptop. And he came home from work and he was
Oh,
like, here, get started. And yes, yes. And so that's how he's been all these years, my biggest supporter, which makes such a big difference in what I'm doing, because I have a full-time job and then I do writing, when I'm not at work. And so he is just so supportive when I've been under deadlines or talking about my stories. He's never read any of my books, but he is a big part of it because I do write romance. And so, I like to include, because we flirt with each other and
yeah.
we have witty banter together. So I like to use that, and I'll not verbatim put that in my
Right,
books, but
exactly. Yeah.
the feel of that, it's easy for me to write the flirty scenes and stuff because I have that in my life with him. So,
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, my
yeah.
husband, same way. I love it. Okay, so if Kate Landry has a plan were turned into a movie, who would you cast as Kate and who is Micah?
So,
Mm.
okay, so when I first started plotting this book, I like to look at pictures of
Yeah.
characters because it makes it easier when I'm writing to actually visualize someone, as they're having their scenes and stuff. And so for me, it was oh my gosh, my mind's gonna go blank. It was the couple from Jurassic Park. The redhead. It was like the newer Jurassic Parks. My
Oh,
mind's
yeah, yeah.
going
Oh,
blank on
Chris
me.
was it Chris Pratt? Is that the guy?
Chris
Uh,
Chris Pratt and, Ron Howard's daughter. I
yes,
remember Ron Howard, but I don't remember the daughter's name.
Dallas. Her name's Dallas something. We're
Is
good
it
here.
Dallas?
I thought it was Dallas. I'm gonna
I
look it
should
up.
know this.
Chris Pratt.
It's
I
crazy. I
know.
know Opie, but I don't know Opie's daughter's name.
I think it's
Bryce
Dallas.
Dallas Howard?
Oh, yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard. That's it. I knew there was a Dallas in there
Okay.
somewhere. We're good people. We are so into movies in the stars. But I could see this. I could see even their personalities. So for those who are on YouTube,
Oh,
okay,
that's one of the pictures from my
yeah,
research.
that
Yeah.
that I can see that. That's like perfect. I love it. Okay,
Well, you're quick
now,
with your fingers looking that
oh
up.
man, I got it. I love it. Okay, okay. My last. Well, I have two more questions. So since this book is
Okay.
part of the Beignets for Two series, is there going to be more
Yes.
stories in this world? Okay, cool. When is the next one coming? I
I'm
gotta
current
know.
I'm currently writing the next book. So, yeah,
Okay.
I've plans for one more.
Okay, good. Very cool. Okay, then
Yep.
I always love to ask as we wrap up these interviews, what are some Christian novels that you love? It could be recent ones. You've already mentioned Becky Wade. She gets mentioned a lot.
Yes.
She's pretty amazing. Francine Rivers, she gets mentioned a lot. She's pretty amazing. What are some other novels, Christian novels that you've enjoyed?
So, for historical romance, I love Rachel Scott McDaniel. I just finished reading her book actually released today, The Dreams We Knew. Really good. It's set in the roaring
Ooh.
20s. She has mystery and witty banter and romance and beautiful faith elements in all of her books. So I definitely love her. I'm currently wrapping up Pepper Basham's next one, Some Like It Scott. And that
Oh,
one
that
has
looks
been
so
so much
cute.
fun. Yes, yes. I wish I had the book to hold up, but it's on my Kindle. But I love anything that Pepper writes too, just like Becky and Rachel. So yeah, I guess those would be my recommendations. Yeah.
Very cool. And that's a fun thing is that there's so many great books out there. And there's so many different genres and the way they I mean it's amazing. This community really is amazing and I love it.
Yes. Yes,
So and
they are.
I'm
They're
glad you're a
awesome.
part of it now with us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So for those who want to find your books and connect with you, where can they go to find more information?
The best thing to do would be to go to my website, RebekahMillet.com. And Rebecca is spelled like Old Testament Rebecca. That's where my mom got my name from.
I love it. And Millet is just MILLET.com. And are you on social media? They can find you there too.
Millet. Yes, yes, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, but yeah, Rebekah Millet, MILLET.com.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.